This is William DuVall and Ben Weinman from Giraffe Tongue Orchestra.
And you're watching Loudwire.
Hey everyone, Graham from Loudwire here, and I'm here with two of the members of Giraffe Tongue Orchestra, William DuVall, Ben Weinman. Thank you so much for coming by, guys.
No problem.
Super appreciative of your time. And the new record is Broken Lines, and I've read that it is somewhat akin to cinematic music. What can you tell me about that?
Yeah, I mean, I've said that a couple times because it just struck me that way when I got the music from Ben and Brent. It was like this sonic landscape that I had to figure out how to occupy, and a lot of the music just struck me as requiring something that falls way outside of conventional rock songwriting. There are bits of lyrics that are inspired by everything from the Syrian refugee crisis to a young couple I saw embracing against their car at a gas station in East Atlanta. And there's all kinds of things that help to trigger the lyrics that you hear, you know?
Yeah.
I saw Brad Pitt and Gwyneth Paltrow up against a car embracing each other back when Seven just came out. They were just a new couple.
Oh, damn.
And like I kept thinking, I'm sitting there watching this on Rodeo Drive. I'm like, if I get a camera, I'm rich, because it was the first time they'd never been like, you know, caught on the tabloids. And I'm like, but if I walk away, I'm going to miss this moment to just be a fly in the wall and watch this. There was nobody there, and I was like, man, I could go get a camera. And then I didn't go get a camera because I'm going to miss it. And then like 10 minutes, they're still making out on the car. I'm like, now I can go get the camera for my parents. And I'm like, no, they're going to be done. Still making out on the car. 20 minutes they're making out on the car. I had like a Inquirer. I would have been rich.
Now, Ben, you and Brent are two of definitely the most erratic, kind of unpredictable guitarists in heavy music. Human beings, you know. Right. I haven't met him yet, but heard many things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So when you two came together, you ended up making something very like smooth and legato and kind of calm and nice. Were you surprised by that at first?
I'm talking the guitar language.
I know.
Legato.
Was I surprised? No, because you know I think we have such eclectic tastes.
Sure. And
some people may not always expect that. You know, I mean Brent definitely has a lot of side projects, so people hear other sides of him, but I rarely listen to aggressive music ever, and my band Dillinger has always been a way for me to have kind of this self-expression that then allows me to explore other things, you know. So I think Giraffe Tongue Orchestra is maybe in some ways the first time people are hearing some of that side of me, but I guess what I'm most proud of and what I keep saying and what I hear is that you can definitely hear all of our styles very clearly, I think, on the music, but it doesn't sound like any one of our bands. Nobody in this band plays in a band that sounds like this particularly, so that's the goal. That's the ultimate goal of doing another project, right? So, you know, we accomplished our goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was listening to it this morning. I could definitely tell when you were coming in because you'd hear like da-da-da-da-da-da, and I'm like, all right, that's Ben. Yeah. And then Brent's voice comes in, you're like, oh, yes, right there. So, yeah, I definitely get what you mean. And your debut show is going to be at Reading and Leeds this year, and that's what, 90,000 people. I mean, I'm sure you guys both played that stuff before.
Yeah, sure.
Is there a difference between having that being your debut show rather than playing at a club to like 100 people or whatever?
Because in this day and age, it's all being seen
sure,
and heard.
It's all being recorded forever.
Whether there's 200 people there, or 200,000 people there, everyone's gonna get their first impression of you, whether it's live or someone talking about it or seeing it on a YouTube or hearing some. So it's even if it was a smaller show, I think it would be just as much pressure.
Even in the moment?
It's pressure. Yeah. It's just pressure to do our first show and get together and see how it works.
It is.
Regardless, so.
It is. Having said that though, and while I concur with all that, like for me as a singer, the particular demands of my job, the festival setting does
that's not the
it
easiest.
it does place other demands on you, just to cover
that's
the
true.
area and to, you know, and you've got to project that much more and hopefully reach that many more people who are there with you in the moment, as
Yeah.
opposed to if we were playing some like real serious underplay, like little dive bar club or something, just like secret show kind of thing. This is a spectacle, and it's an event.
I want to talk about Juliette Lewis a little bit because I think she's super underrated as a musician. I think
do too.
Juliette Lewis and the Licks was awesome.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. What was it like working with her on this project?
Well, you know, it was one of those things where I tell this story because I was one of the skeptics as well. Like, I'm like, here's this, you know, another actor vanity project.
Oh yeah, sure.
And, you know, I had seen her, well, I really enjoyed her work. I hadn't heard the Licks, but I heard her guest vocals on a Prodigy track I really liked.
Oh yeah.
And it was fantastic, and I was surprised to find out it was her. And then I had the opportunity to run into them playing the Licks in San Francisco. I think it was Slim's in San Francisco, you know, fairly small club. And there she was in the tour bus, carrying gear, sweating with all the guys. And she was on stage, and she put 1,000% into it.
Yeah.
And when I saw it, I was like, this girl does not need to do that. You know what I mean? Actually, band guys need to do that.
Yeah,
That's
very
all.
true.
This is what we need
Yeah.
to do. She does not need to be up there doing this and sweating and being in the smelly farty bus. Like, she doesn't need this. I need this because this is all I do.
Yeah.
And so it became even more real that she was putting so much into it. So that was the first time I had interacted with her in any way, and I gained a new respect. So, you know, at one point we ended up just jamming and messing around and just writing a few songs and stuff like that, and some of that, a little bit of that ended up on the record as a guest vocal, and there's some other stuff floating around. You never know if it would come out in the future or we'll do something again, but I respect her, and it was fun.
Yeah, she's cool. So I'm sure that a lot of fans probably assume that with you two guys being in so many bands for a long time, that you probably know everything there is to know about being in a band.
That is true, about everything,
Well,
pretty much.
I
We
wanted
know
to
everything. We've been places you wouldn't even dare go. Seen things. I've seen things.
Not even
can't
physically.
Horrible
unsee.
things. You
Can't
can't. Seen things you cannot unsee.
Being on a bus with Greg Puciato, I don't even want to know what you're saying.
Well,
on
I've
that
got
bus.
some stories.
Yeah, okay. After the
Yeah,
interview.
afterwards.
But when it comes to doing new bands, doing new stuff, is there stuff that you're constantly learning, new things about being in a band with other people and the dynamics of making music with other people?
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. You know, a band is a very fragile organism, and you know, it's always such an adventure, and you just, you know, you're dealing with personalities, you're dealing with in many cases really strong personalities, because that's what made us get to where we are. As you know, you've got to deny all the naysayers. You've got to shut out all the external noise around you that's telling you can't, you shouldn't, you know, like.
Yeah.
So you know, there's a certain fortitude that goes with that. I mean, unless, you know, for most of us, you know, unless you
Band people are
luck into some
freaking
stuff.
crazy.
Right.
Yes.
We have to be.
Yeah,
You know, you
exactly.
wouldn't want to be out there in front of people.
Exactly.
Prancing around and also being criticized and also being your
Right.
ego being boosted simultaneously.
Right.
And most people aren't saying that or doing that for a living. It's not a healthy
It's
mental
not.
scenario.
It's
but
not.
but I think the one thing I learned from this is that there's really no difference. They're all, if you care about it, it's always difficult, because if you're really passionate about it and you have a group of people that are really passionate about it, it's always going to be, you know, it's always going to be the struggle to really make it happen, really step up and really make it work. And that's, I think, the one thing that we'll always have in common is we've done that. We've gotten through those things.
Mm-hmm.
We make it happen. We
Yeah.
make it happen.
Make it happen.
We've been able to make it happen. And I think that's the difference between, you know, seasoned players coming together and being a group and just getting together with people who aren't. And people throw the word supergroup around a lot.
Yeah.
But to me, it's more like a bunch of guys that we happen to be around for the past 20 years more than other people who are working other kind of jobs, and that we know have a certain level of professionalism and understanding of what it needs to take and how to manage their time and stuff like that. So I think of it more as like a group of people that are kind of on the same level of playing field and able to make it happen. You know, other than like this guy's in some big band or whatever. I never really cared about that stuff ever.
Sure.
You know.
I want to thank you guys so much for talking to me today. I appreciate it so
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah, man.
Giraffe Tongue Orchestra, Broken Lines, September 23rd. Pick it up.